Hi there, welcome back. So, have you planned to move from manual testing to automation testing? You made a wise decision. It's because looking at the current market condition, the job openings for automation testing is much higher in range than the job opening for the manual test position. So, it's always advisable to move to a better opportunity where you fit into a more space so that you have a better probability to get new job. So if you have planned to move to automation testing, then watch this video. By the end of this video, you'll come to know exactly what you have to learn to fit into automation testing. Stay tuned with me. So in today's video, we will cover what is automation testing, why do software industry needs automation testing, what do I exactly need to learn to become a software automation tester, and finally, how and when can I say that I know automation. So before moving ahead with the current content of this video, let me answer you one very basic question that might come to your mind. The question is like, am I a good fit to start on automation testing even though I don't know any programming language? I haven't done any coding so far, so is it a good time to start? I have so much experience with manual testing. Is it a good advisable suggestion to move to automation testing? The answer for all this question is yes. See, learning never harms anybody. If you learn something, maybe it might not feel that it's usable today, but someday you will realize that you have used that learning, whatever you learned, you will be using in future. You will use it once, at least sometime in your life. So learning has no side effects. It only have positive effects. So starting to learn on something is always advisable. Even though you cannot make it to the end, it's okay. You will still know something. You will be at a better position than what you are right now with learning. So it's and moreover, talking about coding with automation testing, yes, you have to code because gone are the days wherein you used the record and playback tool to record your test cases. Those tools are still available in market and you can use them, but they do not facilitate the current requirement of automation testing. Hence, it's advisable to learn the coding. But the coding required for automation testing is not like the coding that you need to learn for as a developer. As a developer, they know too much. But for automation testing, you just need the basics. You just need to get the concept and know some things of the basics. And you will come to know by this video what exactly the basics that you have to concentrate on. So moving ahead with the actual content of this video. So the first is, what is automation testing? So looking at in this market, if you know any software that you have been using, anything over the internet, anything on your laptop or your mobile devices, see, if you have a bad experience with the software, like it doesn't open on time or it doesn't retain what you tell it to do, then you would never use that software. So likewise, the software companies knows this and they do not want to lose any of their customer. So they maintain the quality, and the quality is maintained by a team of testers. They keep testing the product, the software product that you for the end user, like how would you use, they are testing the same way. So in order to maintain the quality, they have tons and tons of test cases written, and they keep executing almost every day for some of them. But these test cases which are being executed by manual effort by humans like us, instead of them, if you tell the machine to execute these test cases and the machine starts executing them, so this process of executing the same set of test cases by the machines is called automation testing. The next topic here is why this software industry needs this software automation testing. So as I said before, that if you have a bad experience with any of the software, you are not going to use it. So hence this software industry has to maintain the quality of their software. They cannot degrade the quality. And the human like us who are testing this, there is always a limitation on how many tests we can run in a day, and moreover on how many there is always a human error involved with it. So they know, the companies also knows that these machines are of better speed. They execute all that they can automate and execute. The human can automate and execute these test cases on via machine, around 80% of them in a day. So these machines can execute the same amount of test cases within a day what humans will take 5 days. So that's the reason why the companies are moving towards automation testing. Now, moving to the third thing that we have is what exactly you need to learn to understand automation testing and do automation testing and move to this field. So here there are few techniques that you need to grasp before you move to before you say that you can do automation testing. The techniques are like, first is you need to know at least one programming language like Java, C++, JavaScript, .NET, Perl, Python. You can use any of them. If you already know any of them, then it's good for you. You can start learning again to understand its basics. But if you do not know any of them, it's okay. It's still okay, because you can go ahead and learn one of them. For my suggestion, you can go with Java or JavaScript, because those are more trending and most of the people know this, and you will get many help on these topics. So understanding the basics of any of the language is exactly takes the same effort. So you can pick up any of the language which you like and go ahead and understand the basics. By the basics, I mean you need to understand what is local variable, what is global variable, what is a static variable, a static function, what we call as instantiating an object, what is a class, what is a function, how do you call a function. If you know this much, you are good to start on automation testing. You do not have to go in depth and of like algorithms or data structure. You do not have to go in depth of those. You will learn by time, but if you know these basics, what I told you, is good enough to start. The next thing you need to learn is one database language. You know that every page you open is coming from somewhere. The data is sitting on some server. So those data, you cannot work without data. You cannot have any page without data. So those data is required and is to be validated, to be tested as well. So you need to learn at least one of the database language. You can go ahead and try any of them, like SQL Server or MySQL or Oracle database. All have more or less the same syntaxes to execute the queries. So you can pick up any of them. And what exactly you need to learn from them is not like detailed of databases like StoredProc or something. You just need to have understanding of how to write the simple select queries to retrieve the data. How you can write joins, because sometimes you might be using joins as well. So you should know the inner join and outer join at least. Then you need to understand the syntaxes of filtering the data, like by using like not in equals, not equals. All these are required. So only things like this, 3 things, if you consider and learn with this, you are good to start with automation testing again. So you know one programming language, you know one database language. That's the key things that you need to know. Now, when you are learning the programming language and the database language, you have to practice it. In order to practice it, you need to install at least one IDE on your personal computer, or maybe on your office computer if you have the accessibility. But I would suggest go ahead and start it on your personal computer first. Learn how you can download the IDE. The IDE can be like Eclipse or Intelij. You can use any of them and download. This IDE facilitates you to give an environment where you can code and understand the code better. So go ahead and download it, because you would need at least one IDE to facilitate your coding test, that you are learning the code, how to code. I have a video already wherein I have taught how to install the Intelij IDE for the free version and how to write your first Java program in Hello There. So the link of that video is present in the description. If you want, you can go ahead and watch it and install the IDE. After you learn this one Java or any programming language and any of the database language, and you have the installation of IDE already done, then next thing you need to know is that how will you tell the machine to go on page and click certain elements, click the button or enter the text in somewhere and then click the button and verify something. You need to tell this to the machine. Then in order to identify those elements, those buttons and text, and to select something from the drop down, you need to tell the machine where the element is. And this can be done by locating the element. And for that we have two different kinds of way that you, and in fact there are more, but these two different are prominent through which you can identify an element. So one is Xpath and the second is the CSS. So any one of them, you do not have to learn both, but you can pick any one of them and try to learn how you can locate an element on a web page by writing its Xpath. Xpath is nothing but it's like an XML path. So, or the CSS, the cascading style sheet. You can use any of the notation. You do not have to learn both of them. And these are very quite easy. Do not go deep dive into it. Just learn the syntax and just learn how you can locate an element. Now, once you know how to locate an element and the programming language, the next thing, after you have written a little bit of code in your system, so you're familiar with code, the next thing you need to know is a hands-on experience on any of the testing tool. The one I have suggestion here is like go ahead and try Selenium WebDriver for any web application. Any random page you can pick up and try testing that with Selenium WebDriver, or Selenium WebDriver with JavaScript if you are trying to look for a page which is Angular. So like Facebook is an Angular, it's written in Angular code. So that, or you can still use the Java WebDriver with Java as well instead of JavaScript. But it's your choice. And then maybe if you would if you're indulged into more API testing, then you want to learn how to automate the API, then go ahead and start with Rest Assured. Or if you are more into mobile devices testing, then you can download APM and start automating the test on mobile devices as well. So these are the few tools that you have to pick, and you do not have to pick all of them. Just pick any one of them and start installing and learning how you can use this tool to test your to learn how to test and to test your scenarios by the machines. Not so you write your test case and try to follow those test case into your code. Now, one thing to keep in mind is do not code too much. The automation test is only a it only facilitates the test. If it is a bunch of code, again, it's very hard to maintain. So try to reduce your coding. So now that you know what you need to learn and how you need to approach, the last and the final thing in this video is, when will you say that you know automation and you can put those things in your resume? And that of course is going to lift your resume up. So this is a very tricky answer, because we, as a person, you might understand some of the code, but you might still have to understand few more things. But how would you know that you know automation? Well, once you have automated, or maybe on your personal computer, once you have automated 5 to 6 test scenarios, different test scenarios, maybe on the same application or a different application, it doesn't matter, then you know automation. Not at an extent, but at least you know how to approach for automation. And the second thing, if you write those automation skills in your resume, the second thing you might be wanting to know is, you have to learn a concept which is called automation framework. A framework is nothing but a concept. It's a set of rules that you abide by, that how will you design your code and how will you write and follow the coding things in your particular not test, for particular company maybe, because your company can have 3 different applications to be tested, but you can still use those same set of code to test everywhere. So you need to build your code in a way that way is nothing but a framework. A framework is a concept which you need to follow and build your code accordingly. So there are many kinds of framework available in that you can learn through, like page object model, keyword driven, and many other. But I have very new and cool framework suggestions, for which I already have made my first video on that, which was for action driven framework. This framework, if you follow, it will have a very less code and a very strong foundation, and then you will be able to use your code again and again to test many different applications. So go ahead and learn that framework, because once you know the framework concept, and once you have automated 5 to 6 test cases, different test cases, then you can say in your resume that yes, you know automation, because that time when you will be asked, you will have the answer as what did you follow and how did you execute. So fusion of both makes you a great automation tester. So go ahead and start learning your new automation skills, and I'll go ahead and make another video to help you in this. Till then, bye-bye.